How's this spring been trying to incorporate some of these experienced guys that are new to the offense with the guys you already had?
It's been good. It's been a lot of fun. The guys like Marquiston and Preston that have a lot of reps in the offense, they've just built on that and continued to improve. And then some of those young guys have too. And then the new guys like Kyle and Jaheim, those guys have they're learning a lot of information and whether it's schematics or techniques, but it's been fun watching them all grow and develop and learn it all. It's been a great spring. It's been a lot of fun.
How has Kyle handled that step up in competition? What's demanded at this level versus where he came from?
Yeah, I think he's handled it really well. He's, I think the biggest thing in that adjustment is just bigger bodies around you, probably bigger. You're trying to work your way through on a route, and there's bigger D linemen you have to work through, and linebackers, bigger, stronger people, and everything probably moves a little bit faster. But it hasn't been a huge adjustment for him. I think early it was a little bit of an adjustment, but now he's just like one of those guys out there. He's done a great job.
Through 13 practices, what has Jaheim done the best at working on and improving upon?
Probably seen more improvement just in his blocking technique. He's always been an explosive route runner and ball carrier. We've seen that. Now he's starting to understand how strong he is in his lower body and how he, even though he's not a big typical inline tight end, he can actually handle himself, in those situations. And then all the other situations in the backfield or out on the perimeter, he handles himself well. So I think just all phases of his game, but that blocking element probably stands out the most.
Alex said after one of the scrimmages, Coach Atkins said after one of the scrimmages that the additions in that room and the improvement of that room allows this offense to do a lot more things versatile-wise and just opens it up. What is it that he's referencing when he says that with what you guys now have?
Well, I think I think we just probably have more guys that can do more things. Just the volume of things that we can execute. Because you got, I think with all those guys, you just have a little bit different skill set, and they all bring a little bit different thing to the table. But in the spring, it's all pretty basic in terms of they're really just trying to learn basic alignments and techniques and schematics. But when the fall gets here, I think that'll be a deal that when we start game planning and scheming, how can we get these guys in position to not only make plays but execute blocks as well. And that's the key. Like if you throw a guy out there and he's just a great blocker, but the defense doesn't have to worry about his catching ability, then he's only his impact's only is limited. If he's a great route runner, can execute in the pass game, but he can't block at all, they don't really have to worry. When they kind of have to worry about both at least somewhat, now you can put 12, 13 personnel groupings out there, 2 or 3 tight ends, and they can execute the normal offense, and the defense really can't zero in on this is they're just going to run the ball with these people out here, or they're just going to throw the ball. It just makes you run past 50-50, whatever you really want to do. And that may be a little bit hard to – I may not have explained that well, but that's what he's referring to, and that's the elements that they give you.
At the end of the last season, Marquise Douglas kind of came out at the end of the year, had a pretty good game against Oklahoma. What growth have you seen so far in the spring?
Man, his growth has been tremendous. The biggest thing is, there's so many things we ask them to do. It's not a normal system in terms of just kind of getting good at one thing. They have to get good at a lot of things. So that progression over a period of time, he's gotten really comfortable with what he's doing, and then also how he's doing it. So he's playing more confident and playing faster, and he's paying attention to more of the detail. He's actually showing some leadership in some ways, so his growth has been really, really good this spring. Been really pleased with him.
Some of the catches he makes now compared to a couple of years ago, it seems like he's more comfortable, but also just understands how to move and have that catch radius.
Yeah, and that's, he was so used to being on the basketball court and comfortable out there, and then you get out here. Like I asked him, what's your biggest transition from basketball to football? He's just we have to run so much further in football, and so there's so much more space and so many times where he has to control his body better. but he's learning all that and getting more comfortable, and not just in the pass catching that you're referring to, but also in the blocking, how to handle people. But he's done a really good job.
How are some of the young guys like Power is Courtney? How are they coming along?
They're doing really well. I mean, Jarrell's still putting all those things together, all those elements. Brian, because he was here a semester earlier, understands some of those things a little bit better. But they've both, they've both shown flashes of really good things this spring. Jarrell's growth as a blocker, being a guy that really was just a big high school receiver, he's developed a lot and grown a lot in the inline blocking game. He's, really playing physical, but then he can really run routes like a receiver. And so, summer will be big for him in terms of continuing to learn all the schematics and techniques. And then Brian's shown those explosive movements, and he's done a great job being a guy that started out as a quarterback and learning how to block as well. He's really done a great job there too.
That three-back position, when it's fully realized, I guess, kind of close to it. What does it mean for this offense? What does it do for this offense?
It just gives you, again, that run pass element. Like if they really grasp it all and understand it all, and they're out there, and the defense really can't look at a personnel grouping or a formation and say, okay, we're getting this. We pretty much know we're going to get this play. If they can't do that, if our guys can operate at that level where we can run and pass effectively with 2 or 3 of them out there, then you just become very unpredictable. Defenses go all, if 2 tight ends run on the field, the defensive coordinator's got some guy telling him, hey, this 12 personnel, and he's got a list of calls he likes against 12 personnel. But if they can all operate all the things, not just run or not just pass, then it makes it hard for them to zero in on you, and you're not as predictable as you normally would be. And it's the same when we put 2 running backs on the field. Like our guy, LT had a huge day today. 2 running backs, what are they going to do? And they're both in the backfield one play, then LT's out in the slot, and LT can operate at a high level like a running back and like a slot receiver. If our guys can operate as an inline tight end and block really well, but then go out there and operate as like a receiver can, that's that same effect that a guy like LT gives you, just in a different way.
I think your guys had like 40 catches last year. I know you don't operate like that, but do you expect a greater production, like at least in the pass game, maybe?
I don't. I mean, I don't really have an expectation because there's a lot of things that dictate that. Like, in that second half of the season, we got up in some games, just ran the football. So, there was games where Johnny only had a couple of catches. Johnny's the first guy. Like, if you're just running the ball, he's gonna line up and just block like a madman. He's not. And so we'll do if we can just sit there and run the ball all day, let's run the ball all day and win the game like that. The last game, Oklahoma came out and said, we're not really just going to let you line up and run it over us. Well, Jordan threw for 400 yards. So it's just, if you can develop that, if you can go in and be able to run the football effectively and win the game, but then a defense kind of takes your run game away, but you can do what Jordan did, that makes you a tough offense to defend. And so that's the goal. It's not really, and that's what I try to get across to my guys, because they all want touches. But you impact the game just as much in the run game if you understand what you're doing and how we're trying to win the football game. So I don't really have an expectation for how many catches they get. It's just we just want to win every game, however we go win that game, however we can do that. Jason Witten was here yesterday. That's what he told him. He said, you gotta get as excited about a great block. You cut that guy off and that running back runs right by you for a touchdown as when you run a seam and catch a touchdown. You got to be equally excited. And I believe he was that. He was an 11-time Pro Bowl player. So, those guys were listening when he said that. And that's really the mentality that you want. However we got to win the game, let's do it.
Probably can't say anything that hasn't already been said about Jordan, but what kind of growth have you seen in the luxury he provides us all?
I know people say it a lot, but his leadership, like he's comfortable now. Just okay, I'm the guy that people look to, and I'm the guy that's setting the tone. His leadership's been tremendous. One thing I've noticed, and I saw it today, I think initially, like any quarterback, you're just trying to kind of do your job. But what I'm starting to see now is we might have a guy lined up in the wrong spot, a tight end, for example. He might supposed to be in the backfield, but he's out at the number 2 receiver. Jordan's gotten to where, hey, no, you're right here. Or he's motioning a guy and he's pointing to the spot he's supposed to motion to. He just like the progression of not just what you do, but what everybody's doing. That's when you start to see a quarterback kind of take control, and that's what he's doing. And just, tremendous growth from him.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Yep, appreciate y'all.